We are here talking about whatever we want to talk about today because it's the Red Means No channel and red means no rules. And I often have expectations for myself, for this channel, for life, and sometimes I think we need an outlet where there are no expectations. So if you are here expecting something, which I am going to get to my analysis of the very popular show American Idol eventually, but until we get there, I just need to tell you that the expectations need to be lowered to a minimum, to a zero, because, like I said, sometimes I don't make content because I set the bar at a certain level, and then when I feel like I can't reach that level, I don't reach any level, and that's not healthy. And like I said at the beginning of this channel was not going to pay attention to analytics, to algorithms. It's just going to be a place where people who want to waste 12 minutes of their life and maybe distract themselves from the world and from their expectations, well, they could come hang out. So we will talk about American Idol. I also need to say that part of my negligence as it relates to Red Means No is not just about my expectations for it and my fear of not meeting those expectations. It also has to do with the fact that I've been very busy. My wife was on spring break. She then resigned. My daughter's birthday happened. We went to Cincinnati. I pooped in the shower. I was standing in the shower and I had to pat, like, I'm going to say potty words. I'm sorry. I know some people aren't a big F word kind of human. That's fart, by the way. I don't love fart. I'm more of a toot guy. I tend to use toot with my daughter, or I say rip cheeks. She'll often rip cheeks. I'll be like, did you just rip cheeks? And she'll be like, yeah, it's rip cheeks. I don't know. I like rip cheeks. So I went to rip cheeks in the shower. And I looked down and the water was rust colored. And it was not that bad of an Airbnb. It was me ripping cheeks. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm an adult. And I just did that to a stranger's, to a shower. I'm a guest in this house. And I splattered on the walls of the shower. I cleaned up and I felt another one. And I thought, no, this one's just air this time. This is just pure cheek rippage. No liquid bargained for. Liquid again. So I got out of the shower. I actually sat on the toilet. And then about a half hour later, I threw up more than I've ever thrown up in my entire life. So I don't know if it's food poisoning or neurovirus. Point is, our Cincinnati trip got cut short. We had to come home and we missed the baseball game we were going to. It wasn't great. So my last few days have been trying. And that's partly why I'm not been up to date with the content. Also, I should point out this. The V-neck has not been in since 2009, 10, at least in Midwest American male culture. I used to wear the V-neck because I thought that that's what women liked. I never loved the V-neck. I had a few V-necks, but I had them because other people had them. I wore them in high school because other people who I felt like were getting the attention I wanted, specifically from women, I guess, girls. I wore the V-neck because I thought it would do the same for me. Like, I thought the power was in the V-neck. I don't know if that was the case. And this is probably the first time I've worn a V-neck since I was 16. My uncle was going through his closet. He said, I got some Under Armours. You interested? It wasn't going to charge me for them. Goated uncle, based uncle. I said, sure. Send them my way. So he gave me these 2 Under Armours, 4 Under Armours, but they're all V-necks, which as a little pajama shirt around the house, there's no harm in a little V-neck. I do have this hair that grows here. I don't know why. I constantly am shaving it. I've asked my wife to get some waxing supplies, and maybe we could just take care of it once and for all. And my wife, she loves American Idol. There it is. There it is. So I watch it because I am in the vicinity of it. I don't seek it out. If I was not married, I would have no reason to watch it. I wouldn't seek it out. I wouldn't keep up with it. But I want to talk about American Idol because I fear that American Idol has lost the plot, has changed, has, some would say, developed, some would say advanced, some would say progressed. I would say it's done the opposite. As far as a show with entertainment value, I think it's moved backwards. Now, if you think about Simon Cowell, Paula Abdul, and what's that guy's name? Ricky Simon? Ricky Simon, big glasses, dog, that guy. There was something iconic about those three. As you would expect at the beginning of a show, they all had very unique personalities, and they approached the game differently. What's that guy's name? It's gonna drive me nuts if I don't look it up. I mean, I gotta know like an OG. What's that guy? Ricky Simone is a UFC fighter. Who was American Idol judge? Good grief. I mean, it's showing me the current. I don't want the current. I'm going to just type in dog and hope it comes up. Randy Jackson. I told you, it's been a long week. Yeah, Randy Jackson. Okay. 12 seasons. So there was something kind of magical about when Simon Cowell would approve of a singer. Like, you knew that they were the real deal, and Randy Jackson and Paula Abdul were always kind of the yin to Simon Cowell's yang. And the show also gave a variety of performances. Like, during an average show in the mid 2000s, I think you would see in an hour's time, and I could be wrong, but I remembered dozens of acts. Sometimes short snippets, sometimes longer, sometimes storylines, but you'd get the memes, the Sanjay Marks, the goofy stuff. You'd get the people kind of in the middle who are on the cusp of making it to Hollywood, and Simon says no and Randy says yes, and it's down to Paula. Oh, what's she gonna say? But she's kind of nice, so she'll send him on, and she does. But then that one time where she says no and Randy's like no, right? And it was a good show because there was nuance, there was ebbs and there was flows. And I'm watching it, and since I've been married, my wife is a diehard reality TV girly. I did a Love is Blind sort of rant, and here we are with the second show based on my wife's viewing preferences, The American Idol. And let's just say I didn't hate the last few seasons when Katy Perry had been on, Lionel Richie, and the country guy, Luke Bryan. Didn't hate it. I think Katy Perry brought a lot to the table in terms of comedy, entertainment, that kind of thing. But the direction of the show changed a little bit, and this year it's changed significantly. Now, I've only watched a few episodes, so maybe it will bring itself back. But I'm going to express to you my concern. I watched last night's episode. It's on record. I don't know when it took place. And there were less than 12 performances in an hour. 4 of those performances were standalone, like 7 to 10 minute feature films of these contestants. Now, listen, I realize this sounds negative and sounds like a complaint. It's only a complaint because I think the show could fit me more. And if I'm not the target audience, then Fox or whoever pays the bills for the show, disregard this message. But I liked the old American Idol. I don't necessarily want to watch 8 to 12 singers per episode, 4 of which have had a really sad life. Like I was starting to tear up. And it's like, well, I don't want to tear up watching American Idol. I don't want to be moved emotionally every 7 minutes because of these horrific accidents these people are in, or this sister. Like, what really got me was this sister of this her brother with special needs, and she gets on there and she makes this song about him and how he is an inspiration to her, and they don't send her on, or they do end up sending her on. Like, it's just like it's almost too emotional. It's too not scripted, but it's too formulaic. Gone are the days where we can laugh a little bit. Like, maybe there's a small segment where there's some goofballs. And none of the judges are Simon Cowell-esque. And I get that when you bring on new judges, you don't want to just have carbon copies of the guests, because then people are going to be like, oh, he's trying to be like Simon Cowell. But there's nobody like Lionel Richie, Carrie Underwood, and Luke Bryan are all kind of the same in terms of their judging style. They all kind of move in unison with each other. And occasionally they'll do the I'm a no, he's a yes, you decide. And in most cases they go yes. It's lacking a little bit of the comedic elements that it used to have, and it subbed those out for more of the emotional. But I think sometimes those two work so well together. The comedic relies on the part like, oh, I might cry, but I might laugh. And now it's just like, I'm going to cry. And I don't want to watch American Idol knowing I'm just going to cry. So that's my big complaint about American Idol. I think it needs more joke acts. I think it needs to field more average Joes. Like, I know they have an age limit. I think I get it. I get the principle of it. I get investing in young talent, I also think people have gotten too good at singing in the last 10 years. I mean, with all the platforms that people like this, right, can get on and express themselves and sing and practice and get feedback and expose themselves to the world and get comfortable doing that. Like, people are ready for this show. Like, people are ready to be stars before this show. Like, if you look back, like Jordan Sparks was what, and I don't know what season she won, but like, she was a star, but there was a lot she learned, I felt like, even throughout the show and then into her career. Whereas now, like, some of these guests, first time they're grabbing the mic, what's your name? Where are you from? They start saying, like, they have stardom down. And so the journey of the star is missing. And maybe that's also what it is. There's no more journeys of the stars. They're already stars who just need to be found. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But again, I think it's an interesting premise. I think the show is built a little bit on a flawed premise of what was necessary in 2004, when the internet was not what it was, and you couldn't just start an account, start singing, and become someone. Whereas you can do that now. So it feels like the show isn't as necessary now from that perspective. I got a lot of thoughts about American Idol. And I don't know if they are going to resonate with anyone, but it's been 21 seasons I'm seeing now. 21 seasons. I can't believe I said Randy Jackson. I mean, how stupid am I? I mean, that's just absurd. Randy Jackson. I also didn't have cable growing up. So if I watched American Idol, it was at somebody's house, and I had friends who watched it. I didn't probably start watching it until, I think my mom maybe had a season or two with it. This would have been when we finally got cable, which would have been in 2009. It's about when we got actual TV. That's a whole other conversation. So how do we fix this? Bring back more comedy, keep the emotion, add in some more vanilla, add in some more average Joes. And if somebody, here's what it is. Final thought. Keep it under 15 minutes. If somebody applies for the show and they have a social media following of over 500,000, give somebody else a shot, because they kind of already done the thing. I'd be interested to see how many of the excellent performers have a online presence that parallels their talent. Worth a look. Because now they throw up the Twitter handles and they throw up the TikToks. They throw up everybody's whatever as they're being introduced. I don't know. Welcome back to the Red Means No channel. We'll see you next time. I have something to cry about on Earth. I'll try not to poop in the shower anymore and stop wearing the V-neck.